Sorry.
a targeting event on the 12th of June wherein I was made to bleed from my right nostril for 12 hours.
Oh my God.
I lost a lot of blood and I'm still sort of not here in a way. It's really interesting when you go through something like that. Of course, I can't go to a hospital because hospitals are dangerous things in the U.S.
For sure.
And they probably would give me a transfusion of the wrong kind of blood. I'm not
Yes.
vaccinated.
Yeah.
And so I just have to suffer. There's nothing else to do, and not knowing quite when it'll end, but at least I knew it was a targeting operation because it started at 9 p.m. and it didn't end until 9 a.m. And at
Interesting.
exactly 9 a.m., the bleeding stopped. So probably an AI setup, and I couldn't figure out why it happened then. That was my second blood thing, but this one was four times as long as the other one, and so I must have lost four times the amount of blood.
Jesus.
So I ate raw meat all week. Good quality
Mhm.
hamburger, raw with onion and salt and pepper to make it nice. Um, and then the other thing that happened is this wonderful woman who was helping me. Uh, she's very talented microscopist. She, sh she's dead. And I mean, the story that we're being told doesn't quite fit. And so everyone's doubly upset about that. And I can't help but feel that it may have been connected to what I'm doing and
Yeah.
Clifford Carnocom and I are doing. We're
Mhm.
writing a book about his experiences in this whole thing for the last 25 years. So I don't know. I'm just a little not myself still. I'm still
Unders
grieving, but at least I'm not crying all the time. And
Wow.
I
I'm
will really
s
miss that young. She was 53, and the story is about how her car started rolling down the hill and she tried to stop it and she hit her head and she probably had a concussion and then she was dead. Boom, done.
Wow.
So
So
I don't
sorry to
know.
hear that.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't realize that, I say it over and over, but, geoengineering is a highly classified national security issue.
Absolutely.
And they don't like Clifford and me trotting out all the things that are going on with the geoengineering. They would rather just keep it at weather modification.
Yes.
But there are seven operations going on, and they have to do with turning us into transhumans,
Hmm.
and that's so I'm not invited onto the big shows, even though I'm known as sort of the expert on this,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
uh, and so I'm marginalized. Well, like Clifford, he's been
Mhm.
marginalized all these years. And he, of all people, knows the most about this technology.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's you asked, so I gave you an honest answer. I didn't say,
Thank you.
yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was just hearing somebody say, like, why do we lie to each other when we ask each other how we are? Like, within the last 48 hours, I heard somebody saying that, like, why don't we tell each other exactly how we are? So I appreciate your candor, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry that you have such horrible things to report.
Well, I mean, I've been targeted quite a few times, and there really is nowhere to turn.
Yeah.
That's the irony,
Hmm.
is in a land of so-called liberty and freedom and freedom of the press, ha ha ha, that things are very, very different now.
Yeah. Have you thought about moving someplace else? Are you set
No,
on? Yeah.
no, I'm here to witness this time.
Hmm.
And I will take that with me. And as I said at the end of an interview, I'll be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'll be back. So, I have plans.
I
You know,
love it.
when it's going to get worse and worse and worse because this is just the beginning of
Yes.
the fascist technology, technocracy, I suppose we could use. And
Yes.
so, so anyway, I just want to finish this one more book,
Hmm.
and then I'm going to write some other stuff. I'm done. I've said everything I can about the geoengineering, and if these scientists are not stepping forward and taking their little courage in their hand to say the truth, well, what can I say?
Yeah. Well, you've
I
covered it. You've
I
covered,
have covered
yeah,
everything
very,
possible.
very thoroughly. Yes.
Yeah.
Those books are so dense with material, they're almost heavier than other books.
Yeah.
There's so much
Well,
ink
one
in there.
is the 650 page
Yeah,
one is that's
exactly.
the only one I own the copyright on.
Oh, wow. So the next book is coming out when?
Well, they have it now. That's Inner Traditions. This is the
Oh, cool.
second book they've done for me.
Hmm.
And it's called Remaining Human, Standing Up to the Transhuman Nanomachine Takeover of Homo sapiens. And I'm absolutely serious about that, that I think there is a real possibility that Homo sapiens will be over. And that disturbs me greatly because, well, for a variety of reasons. So that should be out at the end of the year, but you
Hmm.
know how publishers are. They've got a
Yes.
lot of people they're publishing, and they've got priorities. And I have given the pitch that I think I should receive a top priority because this book will help people who otherwise are probably feeling pretty hopeless about
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
about how everything is going and maybe their health and whatever. So hopefully the publisher will respond to that.
Let's hope so. Yes. Well, I look forward to that. And I would love to have both of you on to talk about that. Absolutely. He does
A great
podcasts.
T-shirt, by the way.
Well, thank you. It's kind of a COVID classic.
It really is. You're buying my choice.
It's retro by now. So am I correct in you have a sort of a presentation that you would like to?
Well, I do. I have a PowerPoint that I think is good for people to be able to tie together how I'm looking at this situation because
Mhm.
the way I'm basically looking at it is what you would call in warfare a pincher movement. And the pincher movement is that stuff is coming down on us from the sky, from the geoengineering, and that stuff is also big pharma. Most of
Mhm.
it is chemicals and nanotechnology. And then, of course, synthetic biology is the latest. And we remember long ago when all this started and Clifford Carnicom was the only voice that you could hear on the new internet, that the Morgellons that people were having trouble with
Yeah.
is actually the first volley of the synthetic biology assault. And a lot of people still have Morgellons, even though now in the blood, and this is where I will miss that friend of mine that I have now lost to death. Um, she made a book called Nano Nano, uh, and in which there are many, many photos of what the microscopists with very expensive uh, high-powered microscopes are finding in live blood, just withdrawn from the body, not dried blood,
Hmm.
live blood, and so we now know that a great deal was in the vials of the CV-19 serum, and that coming down from the sky are fibers, filaments, which if you can crack them open, which it takes a great deal of skill to do and a lot of chemistry, you find organs that are about growing synthetic biology in the human body. And so we now know the scene. We know the scene of this warfare, which has, in a way, we weren't awake to it until 2020 when we began to have the jabs. And all attention was diverted to that. And we had to face our ideas about virus, our ideas about contagion, our ideas about vaccinations. And so now, 6 years later, basically, we're much more knowledgeable about what Big Pharma has done to us in the other pincher movement, which is the inoculations. So we're caught between these two. We have to breathe
Hmm.
the atmosphere from the atmosphere, which is loaded with all sorts of entities as lab produced entities, as well as nanoparticles, nanotechnology that are like tiny machines. And then at the same time, the injection, if I'll have a slide that'll show you that the chemistry in the serums is quite similar in some ways to what's falling from the sky. For example, graphene oxide. Graphene
Hmm.
oxide is in the air. Graphene oxide was in the jabs and not named, if you recall.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I want to show the slideshow is, hey, folks, this is really real. And here are some pictures that might help you to get to understand that it isn't just the vax and it isn't just the geoengineering. It's both together
Hmm.
working in concert to basically replace Homo sapiens and all of the internals of our bodies with synthetic, with artificial, and make us what is the scientific term is in silica. In silica means you're basically a machine. And that's where we're at. It's already begun. It began 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when this geoengineering program began. And now that the environment is completely saturated and completely wireless with 5G, 6G electromagnetics. Then came the injection of what Catherine Austin Fitts has called operating systems.
Hmm.
And those operating systems mean that just what it sounds like, computerized, you are now can be contacted and programmed from a distance. You can be killed from a distance. You can be made to have symptoms from a distance.
Nosebleeds.
Like the nose that happened in my right on the right side, but not the left side. It was like, so yes, that's kind of what we have to bite down on. We don't want to. We'd rather not do this. Thank you very much. But now we have this definite dilemma, and I've tried for all the years I've been involved in geoengineering, all the way back to, I guess, around 2010, to awaken people to the challenge coming. Well, the challenge is now here and in spades. And so here we are. Now let's figure out what to do.
Yes, exactly. And this supersedes any sort of compliance situation. Yeah,
Oh,
because this is
definitely.
happening whether we want it to or not.
Right. It's like the blood of the first round that I had of the 3.5 hours of bleeding. I had to make that decision is I was like trying to remember how much blood you can lose before you die. I couldn't remember.
Hmm.
And then I was thinking, well, I can't go to the hospital. They'll kill me there,
Yeah.
one way or another. So I decided that I would just carry on. And if I died, I died.
Hmm.
Because to me, in the end, God or the universe or the great mystery or whatever you want to call it is in charge of how long I'm here.
True.
I'm not really in charge.
Yeah.
I can do my best to remain here,
Yes.
but I'm not really in charge. I know that.
Mhm.
So
That's
I'll
good
get
to.
the should I get the
Sure. Yeah, let me make sure that you can share.
let's see now. Where did I put it? This is the part that was getting things going. I'm going to move you over here.
I
Uh,
think you should be good to go.
and okay. This is it. If I open it now, what I need is, oh, it's opening it. Okay. So I need share.
I'm going under share, host tools. There we go.
Yeah, let me just doing things backwards here, of course. Okay, share. And you can share browser tabs. Now there you are, but I
Okay.
need this one. How do I get this to come over here? It
Uh,
should.
if you go down to the share button, uh,
Okay,
yeah, there you go.
there we go.
There's your
Okay,
desktop.
there's my
Yours
desktop.
looks like mine.
Yeah, with all the stuff, too much stuff on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I see.
that's right. And so then this is what I want, but how do I get it there?
Okay, that's opening up.
No, that's not it.
That's not it. Okay. What did you, was it a
Oh, wait,
movie?
you're right. You're right. It is it.
Okay,
Yay.
cool.
Okay. And now what do I do?
Uh, that's up to you. Are you going to speak as you show these slides, or is
Yeah.
it something that
Yeah.
happens automatically? Um, well, there must be a way to get that full screen, but I think you have to do it
Oh,
from
full
your end.
screen. Well, I can just do play here.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe.
View, possibly,
Where is that?
on the upper left-hand side.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yes.
But it's not lighting. Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
there we go. Hmm.
So which one do I want?
I don't know. I've never used Keynote before, so I'm not
Well,
sure.
it should be in PowerPoint. It's saved as PP PowerPoint.
Huh.
But now I'm in the navigator slide only. What's this mean?
It's bigger. It's not
Yeah.
the whole screen, but
Let
it's
me
bigger.
see. Nope, that's not working. Okay, good.
You might have to double click on the file that you want to open and then pick what app you want it to open up in if you want to it to open up in PowerPoint.
Well, I've got a PowerPoint saved, but now I'm now I have other problems here. Let's see. Okay,
You can maybe back out of Keynote and
let me see. It says Keynote, but the I have a feeling it's the right PowerPoint. And oops, no, no. Um,
I'm thinking maybe it opened up in Keynote as sort of the default because it's the kind of the home, one of the home apps. Um, so you might have to manually open it up in
well, if I
PowerPoint.
did this, would this be all right if I
Sure.
just can click it as I go? Because
Yeah,
I like that idea where I can control each slide.
for sure.
And we'll go quite quickly.
Okay.
Um, now, so
Oh,
these,
one thing I will suggest, sorry to interrupt you.
uh-huh,
Maybe if you click the green button on your upper left, then it will take up, it won't show all the dock on the bottom and the menu. Uh,
okay, the green button on your left. Yeah, full
yes.
screen.
Yes. Let's see if that
It looks
makes
the play is open. Can I press this?
it should be able to. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
But
but
I
I
don't
want
know.
to make sure. Yep, oop, yep, it works. Okay, that's good. Is
Cool.
that good for you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, okay. All right. So now we're recording, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're set. So these are all the books I've written, and you'll see that at the left, is Sub Rosa America. I never talk about these books, but truthfully, I think they're probably the best thing I've written,
Hmm.
in the sense of being a writer. They're based on history they're based on history, but they are in a fictional format so that I can comment freely on what I've watched in my long lifetime, America go through.
Hmm.
And the characters are sort of based on people I knew in the 60s because I'm a child of the 60s. I came of age in that era. And I I take the reader through a journey that the 60s pilgrims make as they go from California, Southern California, Santa Barbara, to travel to Dallas. And a lot happens to them on this journey. And a lot of it is based on actual history of things that were happening in the Southwest as far as like military testing that
Hmm.
was going on, and that sort of thing. Native Americans, I have dead people talking, I have dreamers talking, I have all sorts of things. And there is a cult following of these books of people who have found them of, oh, I don't know, maybe a few hundred people. And I wish I could tell you how great they are. If you want to understand what has happened to America since the end of World War II, and of course the Kennedy assassination. I had tea with President Kennedy, when I was 16 years old in the Rose Garden. I was at Girls Nation. Bill Clinton was when he was president, was at Boys Nation. He used to make references to that day when we were with Kennedy in the Rose Garden. So for me, it was very important to write these books to come to terms with what I witnessed as a young person in America. So that's what those are. There are four books, 1,500 pages of writing. So
Nice.
in 2014, I came out with the middle book, Chemtrails, HARP, and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth. In that book, I present Clifford Carnicom. I think it was the first time anyone had ever written about him, and he had already been at work for about 15 years um, on really coming to terms with what he was witnessing going on in our atmosphere through the jets, mostly military, but commercial as well, jets above up in the northern New Mexico sky, which used to be deep blue, similar to what's the background of these books. So that's in there. I also talk about the patents that led to the ionosphere heater known as HARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project that we'll see in a minute. And that's sort of the basic book. And so it's still worth reading, even though I've gone much further now into the mysteries of this weapon system that is called geoengineering. So then next is Under an Ionized Sky from Chemtrails to Space Fence Lockdown. That was written in 2018. And that one is very valuable because it explains the space fence lockdown. Now, that's a term from Lockheed Martin, which is number one in the world for uh, weapons sales and development and R&D regarding anything to do with bioweapons, etc. So, evil Lockheed Martin,
Hmm.
along with Raytheon. But anyway, then I attracted the attention of one of the primaries of this operation, Billy Hayes, the Harp Man, he's known as. He was an MK Ultra survivor. His father had been also MK Ultra'd by the military. And Billy heard me on that all-night show, whose name I always forget. And he contacted me and wanted to explain to me how the infrastructure of this space fence lockdown was being done on planet Earth, because he was very involved in that. So he helped me He really, really helped me write that book. I did the writing, but he was looking over my shoulder and making sure I understood pretty complex things. So that's a great book still. And then the third book is Geoengineered Transhumanism. That's the oh yeah, there it is. That's the book that I own the copyright of. And I paid for everything to get it published, and it has 60 excellent color photos in it. So geoengineered transhumanism is where I turn the corner on just trying to get everyone to understand the role of geoengineering, the pivotal role for taking over the environment and making the environment pretty much unfriendly toward the human beings who live in it, as you can see. Uh,
Yes.
and uh, it then introduces in a deep way the synthetic biology that they are now committed to. They being the educated science community, uh, certainly the very elite scientists who have access to much more than the scientists that are being trained in regular universities, and that's where we begin to put together how big pharma has run both of these operations with the help of the military, of course, and I think now all of us, or at least those in the alternative, so-called alternative community, know happened during the 2020 to 2025 when really the military was in charge of the entire inoculation world program. So that book gets you going. It's 650 pages, and I won't apologize for that. I got a new publisher that was Inner Traditions. With the head of it is Ehud Sperling. He seems to be quite a fan of mine, which is very nice to have your publisher really believe in you.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I came out. We contracted for me in the beginning to rewrite Geoengineered Transhumanism as a shorter book. Well, that was really impossible. And so instead, I contracted to write two books, following basically the division in geoengineered transhumanism of the geoengineering stuff at the first half of the book, and then the second half of the book, the synthetic biology and it correlate how it works with the geoengineering. So that's what geoengineered transhuman is. It came out in 2025. It's a very good book, selling well. And now the final book that I have written, just finished a few months ago, and that is remaining human, standing up to the transhuman nanomachine takeover of Homo sapiens. And this book is written quite differently. It's much more of a narrative style. It's still a lot of footnotes, but not. I'm not trying to convince you that geoengineering exists. I assume you already know that,
Yes.
and you want to know how it plays into nanotechnology and the synthetic biology.
Mhm.
There, I'll unplug the phone. There we go. All right, sorry.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's that. On we go. There's the new book, The Hidden Technologies of HARP, Chemtrails, 5G, 6G, Nanotechnology, Synthetic Biology, and the Scientific Effort to Transform Humanity. And to cut to the chase, they have already begun to transform Homo sapiens, that's us, and that has been going on for about 20 years now. Geoengineering, bioengineering, question of our time, what does it mean to be human? And this is this is one of the best things that's happened regarding the 5 years, 4 years, however you want to look at it, that we went through with the jab, is that we are now really, really confronted with the very sober question, what does it mean to be human? And then the next question, of course, that's born out of that is, do I want to be human? Because a lot of young people now have been uh, sold a bill of goods and have lost their way in seeing the greatness of the human being. Instead, they think of it as sort of like being a slab of meat with varying programs in us. And so they've been bought off by the idea of being enhanced and therefore having more fun in life and therefore being more special to, whatever history. And it's not like that at all. So it's unfortunate that that has happened, but we the adults have allowed it, and I tried many many ways to get people's attention about this for years and years and years now, but was unable to. So this is the thought that led me all the way through this last book. We cannot solve a problem with the same kind of thinking that created it. So, what I'm trying to do in this last book, Remaining Human, is to show you ways of looking at being human that you probably don't even know about because your education was so poor as they were dumbing you down, as they have been since, I would say, since 1973. There has been a concerted effort to dumb the American down for sure. So this is what I followed throughout the book. So you will come across ideas that are quite unusual and ways of thinking about how we can face what is now we are undergoing and the difference it will make to our consciousness, which may be our solution, our own consciousness. But not in the sense of taking a pill, getting, following so and so and what so and so says. No, this has to do with taking your ability to think back. Now, this is an era where hardly anyone can read anymore. They don't have the staying power to turn the pages, to hold ideas, to look at ideas with their thinking. So there's a lot to do here because we've lost a lot of ground over the last, let's just say since World War II, because we have been subject to programs that are highly classified. And if ever it comes up in Congress or any place where debate could happen or discussion, or it could be undermined and taken in a new direction, it goes into closed session because it's classified, because it's national security. The National Security Act basically destroyed this country, period. And the CIA has done the rest. So just remember this. We cannot solve a problem with the same kind of thinking that created it. So we have to figure out the thinking that created it. And that's what I do in the book. I make it very clear how this all came down. And then we can now look at some different ways of approaching the problem. This is the Kardashev scale. You don't have to look at those little diagrams that much, but this is what the science of our time, and it is scientism is the real term for it. It's not
Mhm.
real science anymore. The Kardashev scale is based on a Soviet astrophysicist named Vladimir Kardashev, who uh, who said for a great civilization to have uh, a real space program, a real space program. And this here we're going to talk a little bit about the secret space program because we have a secret space program. Uh, First, you have to have full spectrum dominance over the Earth. And by spectrum, it means the electromagnetic spectrum, pretty much. And that is exactly what they're still working on, is making sure that they control all aspects of the full spectrum, the Earth, and Earth beings like us. And so that's what that means. Second thing is, after they have that, then they want full spectrum dominance over our star, which is the sun. And then the third step is full spectrum dominance, actually over our solar system with Mercury, Mars, Venus, etc. But it will end in full spectrum dominance over the galaxy. Now that just sounds like hubris beyond belief. And you think, wow, these guys need to see a psychiatrist or something, because they think that they can actually be God, be gods here on the planet. Well, yes, in a way, that's exactly what they want to be. It's true. Now, here's the first book I ever read on this subject. You may remember it,
Hmm.
Angels Play This Harp,
Yeah.
Advances in Tesla Technology by Dr. Nick Begich and Gene Manning, who wrote it with him. And so I read this book in 1995 after it had just come out. And I was seen reading the book at a high school substitute teacher job I was at for a day. And I was reading this during my lunch hour. And the next day, I had a military chopper over my house
Wow.
for about 5 minutes as they were putting me on their XY coordinates of where I was. And that was my introduction to the national security aspect of this. So I think
Wow.
that was. So then here's one of the many patents and papers have come out, and I've read a lot of them. This one is synthetic organisms and living machines. This gives you a sense of what synthetic biology is all about. In a way, it's a non sequitur in that if it's biology, bios meaning life, then it can't be synthetic. But that's not the way they're doing it. They're trying to make it so that you don't know the difference between what's synthetic and what's natural. And in a way, that's how your perceptions have been stolen. And you now look into the media in order to find out what's true and not true, because you don't feel that your perception is worth much of anything. So we need to think about that and counter it with some ideas of how we're going to proceed in this era in which they are mixing up what is synthetic, like your food at the market. If you're eating genetically modified organisms, do you know what that means? That is eating something that has been synthetically created, and it's mainly through what is known as Terminator seed. That's what I call it, and a big movement called it Terminator seed because it's a seed that you can't replant.
Hmm.
It's dead. It's actually synthetic, and so it's creating synthetic food primarily. There might be a small amount of nutrition in GMOs, but only a very tiny amount. And it is basically, you may be saving money by buying GMO food as opposed to organic food, but you will pay tremendously for that with your health. So I've eaten organic since the 60s. We were very big on organic. We grew our own food. We didn't trust the establishment, what we called the capital E establishment, at all. We didn't go to doctors. We didn't go to hospitals. We didn't, and those of us who were really committed didn't go on welfare and try to get freebies from the government and that sort of thing. No, it was a time of a radical revolution of the spirit or of the mind, however you want to look at that. So this is our problem: synthetic organisms and living machines. That's a real oxymoron, isn't it? A living machine. But that is what they're building in us, and we have them. I just looked at my blood with Clifford Carnicom, the scientist that I've worked with for a long time, and virtually looking at it. And I my blood is loaded with this stuff, loaded, and so is yours. I'm absolutely certain
Sure.
this is where we are now,
Hmm.
and the value of having live blood analysis is that it's it's not just an idea that Elana Freeland has. Now, this is independent scientist Clifford Carnicom. It can be found at carnicominstitute.org. That's his site. And you'll find his many, many papers there, and lots of pictures, lots of microscope photographs. So please take a look. Um, him, I trust. This is the most ethical person I've ever known. And truth teller, absolutely. And he has been marginalized and kept out of the limelight of clarification on what geoengineering is up to. Certainly on anything that has to do with bioengineering, he is not asked what he thinks, even though he's spent over 25 years studying under the microscope and in chemical petri dishes what's going on, particularly from what they're dumping on us from the sky. So invaluable, invaluable work from this scientist who has been basically locked out of public debate or discussion by the forces that are intent upon turning us into transhumans. Transhuman hybrids is where we're at now because we're all still Homo sapiens, but our organs are not looking so good. We're all pretty sick now that we have had 25 years of this uh, uh, delivery system from the sky. So, let's admit these facts, learn about them, and then begin to look at our lifestyle. That's kind of the way we want to do this. So now here we have just an example. Now you have a lot of heavy metals in you from the sky, and they're in the chemtrails. And here Clifford says it can be demonstrated that the introduction of essentially any metallic, and I can't read that. Can you read it?
Hmm. You want me to read
Yeah.
it? It can be demonstrated that the introduction of essentially any metallic or metallic salt aerosol into the lower atmosphere will have the effect of heating up that lower atmosphere. The impact is both significant and measurable. Those who seek and express concern about the so-called global warming program might wish to begin their search with an inquiry into the thermodynamics of artificially introduced metallic aerosols into the lower atmosphere. An examination of the specific heat characteristics of an altered atmosphere will provide the path for the realistic conclusions that can be made. Any claim that the aerosol operations represent a mitigating influence on the global warming problem appears to be a complete facade in direct contradiction to the fundamental principles of physics and thermodynamics. The lack of candor and honesty by government, media, and environmental protection agencies in response to public inquiry is further evidence of the fictitious fronts that have been proposed.
So that was in 2004. Recently, geoengineering has been in the news more, but only as a weather modification, only for its operation called weather modification. They're very cautious to keep all discussion beyond weather modification out of the news regarding geoengineering. Clifford Carnicom, when he was, and we'll come to the, let's go there. When he made his film in 2005 called Aerosol Crimes, he named these seven operations as being what the geoengineering was really up to. And the first one, of course, is weather engineering or geoengineering. And the weather engineering is is certainly is is certainly primary. I mean, you make an energy system, you start messing around in the atmosphere, and you can affect the energy system that can produce lightning, that can produce lots of electricity, lots of electrical uh, uh, things that can be done. And at the same time, you have the instruments like HARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, uh, by which you can control the ionosphere, which is starts out about 20 some miles above us and goes all the way until a few hundred miles up to what is known as the magnetosphere. Uh, if you can control the ionosphere, then you can bring all those ions down from the ionosphere that are there as a protective layer for the Earth to protect us from solar events that could be very damaging for our planet. And so that is what exactly has happened, and I'll show you that in a moment, that they now have complete control over the ionosphere. That's part of the Kardashev model, right? You want to
Hmm.
control planet Earth, and so you control its what I would assume are basically subtle bodies. The ionosphere, the magnetosphere, there's a mesosphere, there's a plasmasphere. There are all these different layers above the physical Earth that are protective in nature and may have to do, believe it or not, we have to think of these things because we can't solve our problems with the old way of thinking. That may have to do with the Earth's consciousness as a living being. I mean, you have to assume this is a living being because you can put seeds into the ground, and with a little bit of water coming from outside, boom, you can grow whole forests, you can grow whole gardens. That's a living being. That is not a dead planet by any means. But of course, our planet is treated as if it is dead. So the next round, the operation is the chemical electromagnetic, and we see this all the time, but we don't recognize what we're seeing because this is national security, and we're not being told about these things. Now, electromagnetic, they have turned us into a wireless planet, and yet it's a completely electromagnetic. It's completely ionized. It has lots of positive and negative ions that can be used for, yeah, fast movie downloads. That's what everybody thinks of. But it's much more about military and even intelligence agency projects that are going on. I think for intelligence agencies, I think of targeting. This making the atmosphere electromagnetic or like electric, you can then use 5G and 6G to send beams of energy, directed energy, in weapons and in fact, you can kill people with that. You can maim them. You can take over their thoughts. You can take over their feelings, their behavior. This certainly is how many so-called Manchurian candidates are controlled. That gives you an idea of what I mean by electromagnetic. It's not benign. This is not benign what's going on, all this experimentation going on in the atmosphere. Chemical, we used to think of acid rain, right? We thought of, oh yeah, now because of all the chemicals in the soil on agribusiness fields, growing GMO foods, yeah, it's all acidic. But the chemicals can be all sorts of things that are affecting our consciousness if they are really delivered from the sky into, say, one geographic area. If you have the frequency of the people there, you can chemically affect them. So that's the kind of deviousness going on with these operations. Then the third one, planetary geophysical, I thought of the geophysical operations, particularly in 2017 when the fires, the so-called wildfires in California happened. And also I was in touch with a Portuguese activist in Portugal, and she said that she gave me the exact time and date and everything of very similar fires that they had going there, and it was exactly at the same time as what was going on in California. I thought
Hmm.
that was obvious then that those two fires had been ignited in a different longitude, maybe a different latitude, but that they were they were doing these geophysical operations in tandem for some sort of testing experimental thing. So that's the kind of thing that you can do. All of these so-called wildfires are actually geoengineered with the ignition coming from not space so much, though it would be up in the upper atmosphere, so it would seem like space. By a laser, ignite down on the Earth because it's already been pummeled for 20 years now with aluminum oxide, with iron oxide, all sorts of things that can have incendiary properties and ignite a microwave ignition, which is what is coming from the sky, microwave. And the firemen that I was briefing on this and showing them how it worked from Maui, that fire too was a microwave fire. And they recognized it was a microwave fire because water won't do anything with a microwave fire.
Hmm.
You have to chemically put it out if you can put it out at all. So they had already seen and were very thrown by this because their career had been quite different before this. So that gives you an idea of some of the then planetary, that would have to do with a lot of the resources that are now being stolen and taken out of the earth for all sorts of things that have to do with the electronics that we need in order to control populations. So yeah, those things are all important. Directed energy weapon warfare operations. Yes, we tend to think of plasma weapons and, Star Wars movie stuff with in outer space and that. No, I think we would do better to understand that almost all the technology that we're so fond of that makes our lives convenient and maybe comfortable and entertained. All of these things are what is called dual use by the military, which means they can be used militarily for assaults and defense, and that they can also be used against civilians. And I think we can all agree now that it appears that the enemies that certainly the American military and I would say NATO in general are opposed to the enemies, I would say are their own people. And this is because they have plans for our uh, changing into transhumans that what would be the purpose? Well, one of the purposes you can definitely bank on is that a silicon-based uh, in silica, that's what that means, in silica model of a cyborg human, a transhuman hybrid, who has synthetics running through their veins and in their nervous system and their skin and are being transmogrified into an in silica version that is far beyond the organic version. That version of a human being would be able to get beyond the Van Allen belts and get off this planet. Because so far we have not gone off this planet. I don't
Hmm.
care what the disinformation is, the moon, etc. No, we haven't done any of that because of those radiation belts. They tried to blow them out of the sky in the 50s. They tried to, they took atomic bombs up there, boom, boom, boom. All they did was make more Van Allen belts.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. And I actually was at a presentation by a Los Alamos National Labs scientist who was talking about disinformation about having gone to the moon. And I'm there with a few students that at that time I was teaching a few high school students. And so I very kindly raised my hand, nice older lady. And I asked him, I said, so what was the end of trying to blow the Van Allen belts up so that we could get off the planet and go on our merry way through space and spread what we have going here on the Earth every place else? And he said, and he was like, he became, he almost stuttered. He became quite nervous. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. We went to the moon, we did this, we did that. And I just wanted to show the high school students that what it's like to ask a bold question. And I didn't really care about the answer. I just wanted the question to be out there in the air. And so I was very happy about that. And now, okay, so the next one's important because this is the one about mind control.
Hmm.
Surveillance and neural operations. That's mind control. And the surveillance, whenever you hear the word surveillance, you're looking at mind control. That's basically what is going on. Yes, they are able to observe our license plates, and even a postage stamp from space, from the satellites that are about 200 miles up. Yes, they can do that. But that's not what it's about. It's if there's surveillance, it's about control. And the control is going to come through your nervous system and that's really what is going on via satellite. That would be Elon Musk's CubeSats. Certainly, we saw some of that in some of the film clips that came out during the 4 years of absolute assault, 2020 to 2024, when we heard about the Bluetooth connection between the vaxxed, the ones who had taken the shots, and the electromagnetics that were impacting that. So we know that because this round of those 5 years uh, was basically experimental, but had a lot of things already in place as well. We know that control, that way of control is now operant, and it's particularly operant because of the operating system that was uh, jabbed into the people who were jabbed, and they are now. And I don't know if you saw that wonderful clip in which the guys from Mexico go to a go to a cemetery and have their meter on and see that even the people who are dead are still transmitting
Wow.
to the satellites
I
that are
did not
picking
see
up
that.
their bio information. So
That's
yeah, this is the future. Everything becomes electromagnetic, and they've got 5G up, they've got 6G up. So we've got terahertz now. Terahertz, very tiny wave, deadly for us, deadly for our DNA. I mean, there's nothing good to say about terahertz for the human being. So they are planning that the transhuman version of us will be able to handle these new types of electromagnetics, and they've got 6G up. They tell you that they don't have it up, but they have it up. And 7G will be next, and then they'll go through all the Gs. So let's just, we're looking at the future now in this way, but the mind control is going on. And then the next one is very close to the surveillance neural operations, which is the biological. Now that should really be synthetic biological and the transhumanism operations, because this now we're in the synthetic biology realm with transhumanism. And I have photos of that, so I'll get going here. Now,
Sure.
the seventh one, I don't spend a lot of time on that one, but certainly Dr. Wilhelm Reich spent time on that. He had the ability to go into the desert and with special film take photos of the entities that are in plasma bodies floating around in our atmosphere and I don't know, eating energy systems. I don't know how they survive. And then Trevor Constable, a wonderful man who was very influenced by Reich and by Rudolf Steiner and by Ruth Dreyer. He had photos also that he had taken in the desert of these entities, and they're pretty funny looking,
Hmm.
They're like big blobby looking things, and they have little tiny eyes, and they're looking down here. Ooh, I mean, it's like when I was a girl, I seem to remember some old 50s film in which they're talking about the Greek heroes, and the gods are all up here in
Hmm.
the sky looking down at their
Yeah.
heroes and
Uh-huh.
making bets about, if Achilles could overcome Agamemnon and blah, blah,
Yes,
blah. So
exactly.
so it was like that. Now, the biological transhumanism, that's my books. That's particularly this latest one and the one before. Then the detection and obscuration of exotic propulsion. Now we're hearing about UAPs. We're hearing about the uh, revelation that is the to overcome the disinformation we've been fed all the way through the Cold War about how these are from other planets and they're aliens and blah blah blah. But these are ours, and we have the exotic propulsion system pretty much sewed up. We know how to do it. It's not a fuel thing, and we will probably live, or everybody else will probably live long enough to see them come out and be flying up and down the canyons of smart cities, like the drones are now. Uh, so that's geoengineering. Just this is geoengineering, not the one in the newspaper. Okay, there's the famous harp, and those antennas are phased array antennas, and that's a very unique kind of antenna. Phased array antennas are in your cell phone. I don't own a cell phone because it's a weapon system, and I can't afford to own any more systems that they can use against me. So I don't have a cell phone. I have a landline that picks up messages and is quite sufficient for me. But the phased array antenna is a beam forming antenna. And that is usually you think of an antenna as broadcasting, right? Broadcasting 360 degrees. No, this kind of antenna really can all focus, and you create tremendously powerful beams with the HARP. This is only one ionosphere heater in the world, and there are many more, many more. But of not particularly of the same kind of power that this one is able to bring to bear. This is a true weapon system. And I think that China now has one that is larger than this and probably more potent as a weapon system, but I don't know. I only know rumors there. So that's HARP.
Where is this one at?
This is in Gakona, Alaska.
Okay.
That's Mount, it's named after some white guy. I don't remember. I wish I knew the Indian name.
Mount
But yeah,
Smith.
up in Gakona, Alaska, southeast Alaska, there are two other uh, uh, installations that are important to the functioning of HARP. that are all also up there in Alaska. Oops. This, I'm going to skip this, but if this is the best description of how HARP works
Hmm.
to bring the ions down into our atmosphere and how then how we can use them. See the transverse wave there, how we can use them in our atmosphere, the ions that are brought down. And it all has to do with the ability to dope the region. Doping is the all the particles, the chemtrails, etc., filled with stuff. Without that stuff, and that's why all these states that think they're going to get rid of those chemtrails, I don't think so. I think they won't be able to see them because of an invention that is an infrasound invention that makes it so that the jets can spew this stuff, and it looks like it's ending up being a contrail. I saw one the other day, a jet that did a what looked like a contrail, but it was a little too long. And I watched it dissipate into a into the usual white cloud cover. None of the clouds that we see today, by the way, are natural. Well,
Hmm.
so we know this, but I wanted to point this out. It is, trails are much coming not just from the engine combustion chamber, as you see.
Alana,
There are many spigots, and
Alana,
they're coming from the leaves.
Alana, is there audio to the video playing on your end? Because your voice got very garbled.
Oh, did it? I'm sorry.
Yes. Oh, that's okay.
Um, yeah, so we don't need to listen to all that again.
Hmm.
But you notice that it's coming out the combustion chamber,
Yeah.
and it's also coming out the wings, because in the wings is not fuel, as we are told, it's fuel. They don't need fuel with the turbofan engines that they have now. They don't need to use that much fuel except for landing and taking off. So in the wings are the chemicals that it is distributing. So that's important to know. Here's an example of the plasma clouds that we now have. You can see the fragmentation along the edges. No more rounded clouds unless they're created on somebody's laptop, in some military installation, and then they can do that. They can then put a plasma cloud up there that has a nice puffy exterior, or maybe a storm cloud that looks like it's like the old days of the natural clouds. But you see these striations here that are vertical. That shows the pulsing going on. These are all being pulsed into our atmosphere from the geoengineering equipment. Another one, raggedy along the edges. That shows that it's chemical. That is, water doesn't do that.
Hmm.
Ice crystals don't do that.
Weird.
This is that patent I told you about.
Hmm.
An aircraft comprising a gas turbine engine that exhausts a plume of gases in use. The aircraft comprises an ultrasound generator having an ultrasound actuator and a waveguide to direct ultrasonic waves at the exhaust plume to avoid the formation of contrails.
So that's pretty much how they're doing it now. So you will just see that the sky continues to be a very pale blue. Here's that list I told you about. If you go
Mm.
through this list, you'll see that these are all used in chemical spraying, but a lot of these are also in the jabs. And this is just a partial list, by the way. This just gives you an idea of how much we're breathing every day.
Human white blood cells.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So the lots of experimentation regarding um, biologicals and synthetic biology. Uh, and we are the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
We are the ones, and therefore the surveillance that they're doing on us has to do with they want to readouts. They want readouts on this on what we're going through. physically as they change us into transhumans. That's the end uh, agenda.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, and thank
Now,
you
this
to
is
all of you this
what I was
morning.
saying
Very
about
interesting.
how we took
I wanted
over
to ask a
the
question, a
ionosphere.
couple questions here about HARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Several of you at the table have a little bit of a piece here. As you know, this is located up in Alaska. It's currently funded by the Air Force Research Lab. It was formerly funded by the Office of Naval Research. One of the prime customers is DARPA, which is currently running experiments at the facilities here. So questions to several of you this morning. I'm told by the president of the University of Alaska that the Air Force has pulled its support for the facility, and they're taking steps to demolish it or take it down this summer. He's making the argument that that there is other opportunities for us, and is trying to find a path where the university might be able to take title to the facility. I'd like to start with you, Dr. Prabhakar. I understand that a lot of folks here on the committee probably don't understand what HARP does. I think most Alaskans don't really know what HARP does or why the agency is involved in it. So a very brief explanation and then a more direct question. Would you be disappointed or would you lose something if HARP were to go away?
Senator Murkowski, as I think you know, one of our programs has been using the HARP facility for the research that it's pursuing. And my understanding is that we did get value out of that interaction. The P in DARPA is projects, and we're not in the business of doing the same thing forever. And so very naturally, as we conclude that work, we're going to move on to other topics. So it's not an ongoing need for DARPA, despite the fact that we had actually gotten some good value out of that infrastructure in the past.
Understood. Then to Dr. Walker and Mr. Schaefer, then, Dr. Walker, your agency is currently running the facility. I've mentioned that it's our understanding through the president of UAF that the plans are to move forward and demolish the facility this summer. So the question to you is that accurate? Can you explain why? And then perhaps to both you and Mr. Schaefer, is there any benefit in exploring a potential relationship with the University of Alaska to perhaps take over the HARP?
Thank you, Senator. The Air Force has gotten great value out of HARP in the past. We took it over from the Navy and managed it and actually did a number of experiment campaigns up there and have finished our work that we're interested in doing up there. We've moving on to other ways of managing the ionosphere, which the HARP was really designed to do, was to inject energy into the ionosphere to be able to actually control it. And but that work has been completed.
There you go.
Mm.
Proof.
Yep.
All right. We control the ionosphere. This is a very serious weapon. And it makes the atomic bomb look like child's play, truthfully. So one of the things that came out of the HARP also is this ability to make artificial ionospheric mirrors out of basically plasma with these heaters, these ionizing heaters that HARP is, and there are many of them around. Not with the same power it has, as I said, but still, with two or three. Now, two, you can make a tornado turn into a beast. You can create a certainly with scalar energy from two of the ionospheric heaters, you can produce tremendous earthquakes. I mean, way big, big, big. But for example, for holograms, like we're going to be seeing, I assume, UAPs, alien ships coming in and all this all that they have, where now the our sky now, because it's so ionized, is a basically a theater. So they can use technology like this to produce amazing holograms in the sky. But just keep your head about you. This is technology. This is not aliens and not visitations from other star systems or anything like in the movies. So anyway, that's important to know.
Mhm.
Then this was by Rosalie Bertell, who wrote a book, wonderful book, before my time, Planet Earth, the latest weapon of war, a critical study into the military and the environment. An invaluable book. And Rosalie she said, the ability of the HARP Space Lab rocket combination to deliver very large amounts of energy comparable to a nuclear bomb anywhere on Earth via laser and particle beams is frightening. Absolutely, she's right. Here's our, just to remind you, this little rainbow part here is what we can see into the electromagnetic spectrum. We can't see very far, in other words.
Mhm.
And what would be the wisdom of that? Well, it was mainly, I think, the wisdom of that is simply that, you know, you need to concentrate on this life on Earth that you're living right now, and not get too carried away with all of the different realities that can be seen in these other frequencies, because you can see other dimensions in those frequencies. You might know someone who has a skill in that, a natural
Mhm.
skill.
Yeah.
It can also be through the machines that have been developed that they have access to those other realms, and we have to consider the possibility that they can even bring in entities through frequency that are inimical to the human being. I mean, come on, let's let's imagine that this is more than just stuff. This is actually frequency, which can have some bearing on the existence of various entities that have consciousness, and they're not aliens, they're not grays, they're not reptilians, they're not any of those. They are entities, and so that's the value of this is to understand that when we're in a frequency war now with our own government, I feel. And they're zapping us and getting us to do things. And in my blood situation that I recently experienced, I assume they were using a frequency in order to pulse the blood out of me. And so this is important. You know about your mobile phone. You know about if you're still using a microwave oven. I have no idea why you are, because your
Yeah.
food has no value whatsoever
Yep.
when you then eat it. So I would get rid of that. It's a weapon system. It has magnetron in it, for one thing. That's a weapon. You could use that magnetron to kill your neighbor. All of this is essential for us, even if you never liked science in high school. Don't expect a soft shoulder from me. You need to learn about these things because we live in a technological era. Here I have the non-Hertzian wave versus the Hertzian wave. Now, you may not even know this exists. These are different types of waves. The non-Hertzian Tesla waves or scalar waves are longitudinal. I may ask you to read this because I
Sure.
can't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Non-Hertzian waves, Tesla waves, or scalar waves are longitudinal but can be converted to transverse, infrared, ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma. These waves differ from traditional Hertzian waves in their potential to interact with matter at the quantum level.
So
Hertz,
that let's stop there for a moment.
sure,
That's the important part is that this technology of this weapon system that I call the HARP system, just for simplicity's sake, it is able to do a great deal because it not only is the non-Hertzian wave, Tesla waves, scalar waves, these are natural waves. These are the planet's waves.
Mhm.
And what has happened is with the HARP system, they have been able to weaponize these natural waves. And the weaponization would include the ability to transform those longitudinal waves into the transverse Hertzian waves, which is electromagnetism, like the 5G, 6G, 7G, etc.
Mhm.
So that's the problem with this having weaponized something natural, which is good, but not what the way they're handling it now. And part of this, I feel, has to, and I can't substantiate this. This is my opinion. The interaction with matter at the quantum level, that is a description of the nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is supposedly made with atoms. Well, there's a problem with atoms, and I'm not going to go into it today, but do atoms really exist? Or are they actually fragments of light? I don't want to go any further than that, but to
Yeah.
say that the nanotechnology was created is created at the quantum level. Now, that quantum level, that has to do with, well, that's a level that we don't know everything about. And according to the founder of nanotechnology, or at least he's touted as the founder, uh, he said that uh, he he had fears about the nanotechnology in that because it is so close to the quantum level that it would actually be the end of all things natural. So
Wow.
that's what's on my mind regarding this technology, like which is the most evil part here,
Oh,
right?
shit.
You get a real choice going
Yeah.
on. But the nanotech is the one that we probably know the least about. Okay, read the next one.
Hertzian waves are transverse. These are familiar electromagnetic waves like radio waves, microwaves, and visible light, wherein electric and magnetic fields oscillate perpendicular to the direction of the wave propagation. ELF, extremely low frequency, VLF, very low frequency, LF, low frequency, HF, high frequency, VHF, very high frequency, UHF, ultra high frequency, EHF, extremely high frequency.
So we have these two kinds of energy, and but basically our problem is that the HARP system seems to have converted through ionizing, I would assume, the natural scalar waves, uh, converting them, yes, to transverse, and the electromagnetics that we know about, the ones that are transverse, and that's our problem. Okay, so this is another angle, another part of the problem here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, this is just to show you how it's just a little graphic that shows how you're connected to the satellites, right? Through your computer. There's your computer, there's the internet, there's the cell phone, there's the Wi-Fi going through the air. All of this is something that can be manipulated against you.
Hmm.
You are a target through this. All of this is dual use technology, and it can be used to turn it into a directed energy weapon. This is the problem, and why I say to people, the first thing to do to protect yourself is to lower to the to as far as you can lower your footprint of electromagnetics in your home, in your workplace, wherever you are. Lower it. So what you want a brand new car? Well, the problem is that brand new car has 200 to 300 AI systems.
Yeah. Exactly.
computers. And that you're going to get radiated to death.
Hmm.
So why own a better to buy a used car. I drive a 2001 Honda CRV. Okay, so then let's go on. There's no virus, just frequencies resonating throughout the atmosphere and our bodies and brains. Natural molecular biology has been transformed into digital synthetic biology, whose frequencies can now be transmitted by 5G, 6G systems into the human body and brain. This has tremendous repercussions for those of us who wish to remain human. Wean yourselves from allopathic medicine and the big pharma cartel.
Yes.
Okay. Then here's this, we can't go into detail on this, but this is really valuable if you're following the work of Sabrina Wallace.
Yeah.
This is a valuable tool that I think came from her. And I often will look at this in order to figure out who's who and what's what, because you're dealing with a microscopic terrain now of attack. And so if you don't have, like a super expensive microscope, a $7,000 microscope, you won't be able to see that tiny world very well. And you're going to have to make mental pictures in your mind according to how these things work together. And so that's kind of the minus, because I don't know that we can really trust the experts anymore. I think we learned that in those 5 years,
Exactly.
the experts do lie. So I'm trying to teach myself. Okay, then this is Tal Zach's. It's a very famous little bit where he says we're now hacking the software of life.
I'm here today to tell you that we're actually hacking the software of life and that it's changing the way we think about prevention and treatment of disease. So here's all the biology you need to know in 30 seconds. Our body is made out of organs. Our organs are made out of cells. And in every cell, there's this thing called messenger RNA, or mRNA for short, that transmits the critical information from the DNA, our genes, to the protein, which is really the stuff we're all made out of. This is the critical information that determines what a cell will actually do. And so we think of it like an operating system. And so if you could actually change that, which we call the software of life, if you could introduce a line of code or change a line of code, it turns out that has profound implications for everything. So many of us get a vaccine. What is a vaccine? It is an injection in our arm where we get bits and pieces of the virus, the proteins, and that teaches our immune system to recognize the virus. And so when we get infected, we're not sick. Now, imagine if instead of giving the protein, we would give the instructions on how to make the protein, how the body can make its own vaccine. That's an mRNA vaccine. And here's what it looks like from the cell. So the traditional approach has protein floating around your cells. An mRNA vaccine approach has the cells themselves in your own body making the vaccine. What's more alarming, a stranger prowling the neighborhood or somebody who just broke into your ground floor and tripped the alarm? That's what happens with an mRNA vaccine. You've tripped the alarm wire, and now the cell is dialing 911. It's calling the police at the same time as it's making the protein and saying, that's the bad guy. If you think about what it is we're trying to do, we've taken information and our understanding of that information and how that information is transmitted in a cell. And we've taken our understanding of medicine and how to make drugs, and we're fusing the two. We think of it as information therapy.
There we go. Then this is the only synthetic biology that I knew about long ago when I started the first book, Morgellons, because I went and interviewed people who had Morgellons, and I saw it up close. We looked at it Clifford and I looked at it under the microscope. That is synthetic biology. And you see the wires here. Those wires are actually filaments, and they definitely when you see a Morgellons sore come out on the body, and that is just what is happening because the liver can't deal with this synthetic biology. It doesn't know how to deal with it, nor does the immune system. So it comes out of the skin and it makes it look like you have a skin ailment, but it isn't a skin ailment. It's just an overflow. The skin takes up the slack on getting this thing out. And when the Morgellons shows itself in the sore that occurs, much like Lyme, the Lyme sore looks totally different, but Lyme is very much a synthetic biology creation of the human being, of human scientists.
Mhm.
And when you see uh, these sores, these wiry looking things will they will be completely like, where is the electromagnetic thing I love so much? And they'll be waving around as if they're alive, looking for the frequency that they love. I saw that many times.
Crazy. Is that just a result of the reaction of the chemical in the body, or is that an
Is
end
there
goal?
consciousness?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Is there consciousness in
Well,
these beings?
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is the Morgellons just a symptom that comes from the introduction of something into the body, or is that the end result that they're wanting is Morgellons?
No, it definitely is in some of the fibers that are coming down from the sky.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you remember seeing them, but
Yeah.
it was showing up in the masks that
Hmm.
children were wearing. You know, it was all of these things have been sent into the environment, have been delivered uh, from labs where they'll say that, you know, there was an escape or you know, that whole story. It's
Yeah.
nonsense. It
Yes.
was completely put out there. And the Morgellons uh, is a very fascinating one. And there's going to be a lot in the book that Clifford and I are writing now about
Great.
Morgellons more because it has been ignored recently.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about them for a long time.
But a lot of people still have it.
Yeah.
Then there's this. Okay, what is this?
How severe is this and how representative? And they said, well, that was the concern. This is what got Safe Blood going so rapidly back in 2021. When we started seeing these slides, it was 100%. Everyone who came in that we sampled for dark field microscopy who had been vaccinated has this in a blood characteristic.
That is just incredible. And I want to reemphasize that by pulling up the side-by-side comparison for people that Safe Blood is saying 100% of the time on the left-hand side of your screen there, they are seeing the blood look like that, as opposed to what it should look like on the right-hand side.
So there you go. If you're confused about if your blood cells don't look round and are somewhat separate rather than pancake together,
Hmm.
then you know, the blood is not healthy. My blood does not look healthy now. I think we're all attacked, and it's going to take an effort for us to find the things that can help our blood to resume its health. I do know people who are uh, able to do that with different things. But I haven't spent the time on it to organize all those ideas. But this is the time to experiment, see yourself as a test tube or a petri dish. And you know, I mean, the bad guys are experimenting on you, so now
Yeah,
you can experiment on you to
exactly.
find your way out of what they're putting on you.
Hmm.
Here's some blood. This is from the book that called Nano Nano. You may still be able to find it. The person who put the book together has died in questionable circumstances. And so now we are busy trying to figure out if we can um, get the templates of the book and resume print-on-demand publication for all the people that now want a book. So anyway, this is from the book, Nano. Large expanding mass of hydrogel polymer fills in between deteriorating red blood cells, from Tobias Baharal, who is a practitioner in Canada, and I know him. So there's that. A blue polymer filament surrounded by unhealthy rouleau red blood cells. That's what they look like when they're mushy.
Mm-hmm.
In live human blood, dark field microscopy, 400 times magnification. And then they list their type of microscope. This was done by the person who now is dead. Unhackable animal. Synthetic spider web filaments, that's in quotations. It's not a real spider web. It's actually a polymer. Synthetic spider web filaments in California from chemtrails analyzed per laboratory analysis to have been engineered from 30 toxic materials. Okay.
Crazy.
This is another one. Complex layered geometric and dendritic crystallization pattern forming antenna-like circuit board-like designs from chemtrails synthetic spiderweb filament, 30 toxic materials as per analysis. After the sample was left under a cover slip close to internet router for 6 months.
Wow.
This is what it looked like after 6 months under the yeah.
Strange. It's like a mixture between, like it said, a computer circuit board and frost on a window or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Crazy.
Colorado chemtrail delivery substance polymer for hydrogel question mark scraped from a car windshield directly after chemtrail delivery in Colorado. HEPA air filter filaments. Oops. A mass of translucent pink, blue, and purple composite polymer fibers filaments scraped from a home Austin Health Mate Junior HEPA air filter accumulated over a period of 5 years in rural California.
Look.
Extended crystalline form in live human blood, showing repeated internal patterning and alignment along a longitudinal axis.
Wow. In the blood.
Hydrogel in blood, hydrogel boundary formation of the edge of a cover slip in live human blood. Dendritic hydrogel structures extend across the field between red blood cells. Pfizer Comirnaty, I don't know if I'm saying that right. That's what they call the serums in Australia. Sequence showing geometric crystalline structures and filament in a Pfizer Comirnaty open drop preparation over time. Panels include a before and after view of a filament attachment to a square crystal with central inclusions. The filament traversing the superior crystal surface, the filamentous attachment arising from one corner, and the elongated filament connecting multiple square crystalline structures. So crystals play a big role in what's being found in the blood through these powerful microscopes. And crystals, as you know, if you remember the crystal radio of many years ago, crystals are excellent for communications, and that would include the control over our blood, control over the nanotech in our blood via 5G, 6G.
And can't you store stuff in crystals too? Information or?
Store information, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, they can use it for that, exactly.
Crazy. I've never seen anything like that before. That's
in 1 drop of New Zealand's Pfizer Comirnaty vaccine under a cover slip after it was inadvertently heated lightly. viewed the same day through dark field microscopy at low magnification, then projected onto a TV monitor. And this was one of the earliest things I saw back several years ago. Wow, I was like, holy cow, that looks like hardware.
Yeah,
Looks like
absolutely.
computer hardware.
For sure.
Hexagons, this one's really quite amazing. Hexagon shape in bull semen after 12 days of sitting on the slide. The
Hmm.
microscopist is a small scale livestock farmer and veterinarian. And so this inclusion of the hexagon, this is a very big subject because the hexagon is a unique geometric form that accompanies life forms at certain, only very certain times. So this one and then this one. This is squirrel blood.
Wow.
Two hexagons. Let's see. In chapter, and then I added this to it. In chapter 12 of Geoengineered Transhumanism in 2021, Occult Assault number 1, The Magical Human Head, Brain, and Second Brain. Fascinating information about hexagonal geometry and the Whittaker infolded electromagnetic wave. I also recommend pages, recommend reading pages from other books because the hexagon has definitely captivated me.
What about Rudolf Steiner? Something about
Yeah,
clairvoyance.
he writes about the hexagon at
Wow.
length.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
in blood.
Oh, that's
Quantum
insane.
dots also manifest as hexagons. Quantum dots. Those
Hmm.
are carbon base that is used a lot in this technology in the synthetic biology. In human urine, a long translucent composite polymer filament excreted in human urine.
Hmm.
And there is the book I told you about, Nano.
Oh, okay.
And the order from that would be that blue is really terrible. That would be unhackable-animal.com. Again, the person who controls this website and who made the book is now dead under questionable circumstances.
The site is still up though. I just went to it.
Last I checked,
Yeah, yeah. And
last I checked,
you
yeah,
can still
there,
order it.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. But we're working on it. We do have access, it turns out,
Cool.
to uh to the templates. Mhm. And then that's it. That's my little just to bring them together to show how they're working together in what I call a pincher motion. From the air as above, so below. It also matches with an occult law,
Hmm.
which many occultists, I believe, are involved in this science to transform God's Homo sapiens into a synthetic being. Yes, I believe that there are many occultists involved in this.
Synthetic beings being more controllable by these people.
Well, and insensitive to, for example, the radiation keeping us from leaving the planet.
Mm, oh yeah. And because it seems like if the idea were to get rid of people, they would just get rid of people.
Yeah, but if they want to get rid of people, remember, if you are an occultist, and I'm not particularly an occultist, but I am very familiar with the occult now because Rudolf Steiner believes that it's a whole other language and a whole other way of thinking that the good people need to understand
Hmm.
in order to deal with the people that are committed to the occult realm. Um, I experienced reincarnation when I was about 8 years old. I felt that I had known a man who the man who had written the allegory of the cave, Plato's allegory of the cave. I felt that I had known him. I didn't know he'd been dead 2,500 years.
Wow.
So for reincarnation, Will you be able to reincarnate into a synthetic, in silico transhuman? No, no, you will not. So that indeed will end. That indeed will end humanity, the human that we have, that we know.
Well, do you think that humans solely reside on Earth, or they're
Well, the earth is the place you come for school.
Mhm.
This is where you come to develop. You don't actually do that much development, as I understand it, in the spiritual worlds.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So this is, the prison planet, as some
Yes.
people like to call it,
Yeah.
is where you have hard lessons
Mhm.
and you deal with your karma, uh, and make it better
Yeah.
and evolve through lessons learned here. And that makes it very, very important what's going on. Very, very, very important, in fact. So ever since I realized that this could be the end of humanity, I have been working feverishly, more feverishly than I was before.
I mean, those souls have to go somewhere though. The souls aren't going to disappear. They just have to find a different place to inhabit, right?
No, no,
No?
no, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
And the book that came out after the jab that is most valuable by a Steiner clairvoyant person. He was clairvoyant since birth. His name is Thomas, what is Thomas?
Mayor.
Thomas Mayer.
We had them on. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Because his book is all about what happens to the soul from the jab.
Hmm.
So, to me, the black magicians working at these drug companies, Pfizer, Moderna, etc., they they have scientists who are adept and maybe even adepts. That's a special term in the occult,
Hmm.
who know how to set up this alternate uh, transhuman for the purposes of the dark side, and to thumb their nose at God and at the plan for the human being, according to Rudolf Steiner, to become a hierarchy of our own, because we are the only creature at this point, conscious creature, who is attempting to develop free will while living in a material body. That makes it different. And the soul that will come back, and will possibly, there will be souls, uh, completely completely changed souls. Because I know that, you've probably heard of how the Mormons have these rites by which they can affect your spiritual life after leaving the earth in death. And
Not.
they can actually arrest your soul on its way out and sort of store it for use of another soul, like Hitler or something, Mussolini, whatever, a dark entity, bring them into another body so that they have access to uh, a certain type of freedom here. And I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't necessarily believe that,
Uh-huh.
but I do know that the Mormons have these rights.
Mhm.
I have done a great deal of I did a great deal of research into the Mormons because I have a character in the Sub Rosa America series who is a CIA officer, but he was raised as a Mormon. And so he's constantly trying to figure out his relationship to his Mormonism. And therefore, I did a lot of research on the Mormon Church because
Hmm.
it's also apparently as wealthy as the Vatican.
Interesting. Wow. With a much shorter history.
Yeah, with a much
Huh.
shorter history, with a much
Crazy.
shorter history. But they're ruthless. I know MK Ultra victims uh, of the people that run the Mormon Church who tortured these MK Ultras. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, Elisa E says that too. She's had some
Who?
dealings. Elisa E.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Elisa is one of the best.
yeah.
Her
She's great.
book goes into detail
Hmm.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a concept, at least that the Tibetan Buddhists have, that if you reach a certain spiritual state of spiritual development, you
Hmm.
can sort of get out of cyclical existence, meaning you
Yeah.
don't reincarnate, you go somewhere else. What
Right.
about that realm? Does that have a place in what you're saying?
Well, I would assume it does.
Hmm.
I just am quite ignorant of that, though I I definitely read the Tibetan Book of the Dead, but I don't really resonate with that religion, so
Hmm.
I don't pay that close attention, I think.
Sure, sure. Well, okay. Uh, say at this point, anybody who is watching or listening to this is sort of their heart is sinking. Is there any sort of hope or any sort of information that you can give them that would maybe help them feel a little less helpless in this or a little more
Oh
autonomous?
yeah, there's all sorts of things. I
Cool.
mean, come on, we're human beings.
Okay, I like that.
We are a superior being that most people never develop while they're here. And I don't blame their causality. I don't blame their karma, etc. Most people are quite lazy, I've found, about doing much of anything to become excellent in what they do,
Hmm.
in order to develop their mind. So, because we have these amazing minds
Indeed.
that all you need to do is commit to developing it and have some sort of inner life in which you are absolutely certain you are a higher being and you are in touch with higher beings and live the life you have out of that knowledge. I mean, you have to have that in order to draw yourself up by your own bootstraps, so to speak.
For sure.
And it isn't a matter of waiting for Jesus to save you or send you the secret code by which, you will be transformed overnight into an extraordinary human being. It's labor. It's a lot of labor. And I certainly have put a lot of labor into my karmic situation that I inherited from the family I had. Uh, my father was a scientist for Navy intelligence,
Hmm.
and he abused me. He wrecked me, in fact, and I had to rebuild myself because of what the Navy had already done to him and the satanic cult to which I believe his mother's side of the family belonged. So, you inherit these things, and they're a lot of work because, first of all, you have to determine that what's wrong with you, that you're doing this, that, and the other. And do you have all your memories? And do you have all your equipment for living a life on the earth that is productive and bent on becoming excellent? Well, I didn't. I didn't have any of that. And so, I had to set to work. And I think a lot of people become very uh, caught up in in the material, because we're being programmed the whole time by the
Yeah.
televisions. I mean, from day one, I've never owned a TV. I figured that out years ago that it was mind control. And I've never owned a cell phone. And I made that decision too, because it's a weapon system.
Sure.
So, you find out these things because you pursue knowledge. But, and a lot of people say, oh, Elana, but you're so smart. You can do those things. I could never do. Well, really?
Yeah, of
Come
course.
on.
We're all capable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we can't wait till the end to, have some bedside confession thing.
Yes.
It's too late then.
Yeah.
You have to get them into what Steiner tells you about your etheric body and your astral body. These subtle bodies, they need to be um, grown up too. And given how it is now and how tough it is for children. I mean, you come here and right away you're shot up with all sorts of stuff. I mean, so when I had children, I had 3 children, I avoided hospitals and had children at home.
Yeah, we did too.
Because I would not allow them to do such a terrible thing to a child. But, how do you get to that point where you don't see that as a necessary evil, but you see it as something that you're going to be bent on avoiding at all costs? I don't know where that line is in everyone. Everyone has to face that themselves.
True.
Because it is a big thing to stand up against consensus. You're going to be ostracized. You're going to be made fun of. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
But it's worth it.
Agreed. That we saw that in the 5-year span you were talking about. Like you went out in public without a mask on, they let you know about it too. About self-policing. That self-policing mind virus was in almost everybody. If they didn't say something, then they gave you the look.
Yep.
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 So all of this seems like, I mean, some people talk about Earth, this realm, the physical realm, being sort of an enclosed system.
Mhm.
And these all seem like rules and games that can only be played within that closed system. So that's why I think I have a hard time wrapping my head around the soul thing. Like that if we don't have a body to go back to or incarnate in, then we're cached. Because it seems like I see it as this realm being such a small part of this universe, multiverse, however you want to look at it, that there seems like there would be lots of other places to go.
Seems. Now
Yeah,
that's a big word in your sentence.
true,
Are
true.
you willing to bet everything on seems?
No. I'm not saying I'm not saying any of that to justify any kind of inactivity by any means,
Yeah.
but more to like quell my freaking out about like, oh, what are we gonna do? So yeah, that's the only reason I say that. It seems like there's got to be more to all of this than this game because
Well, I would like to think that.
Mhm.
I really would. But I'm an evidence-based kind of
Sure,
researcher.
yeah, yeah,
And what I see is and what I've been taught by my trail guide Rudolf Steiner, who felt that the 21st century would be what would be needed for the 21st century is people willing to encounter evil and name it and expose it. And that's what I do.
yes,
That's my job.
you're great at
So I've got my job description,
it.
and I in order to do that though, and he didn't tell me that, in order to do that, you have to go in there and save the child that you were, because my child was trashed,
Yeah.
and I was about to trash the children I had
Hmm.
because of having been trashed. So, you have to do this work on your past even in just this life. Now, past lives, people talk about regression therapy and things, and I don't do any of that because I don't trust these practitioners. I really don't. I don't know who they are, and I don't know what their MO is or anything.
Yes,
So
I understand.
I simply do the work that I am convinced has to be done in order to do what I came to do. And I'm very clear on what I came to do.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people are not clear on what they came to do. In fact, they don't even have that idea in their mind that you can choose before you get here what you're going to work on.
Yeah.
But certainly, maybe not everybody can do that. I completely understand that. But I am definitely a person that I know, I know what to do,
Yeah.
and I'm doing it despite the bloodletting and all the things that are done to me by I assume the intelligence agencies that are watching me. So I I say to people, yeah, it's a big challenge. And I also say, hey, I tried to wake you guys up like years ago, and
Yes.
nobody paid any attention. So okay, things get bad, Americans get moving. That's what I've noticed before. Things get bad. Or they go into amnesia, like Kennedy's
Mhm.
assassination. We never made anyone pay for that assassination. We knew who did it.
Yep.
We knew. But how do you bring them into the justice system? How do you get the CIA up there to tell when their whole modus operandi is to lie?
Yeah.
So, we inherited a lot of assumptions, a lot of seemings, and they weren't true.
Yep.
They weren't true. So anyway, that uh, minimize your electromagnetic footprint right away. You don't need all those toys. You don't need those fast movie downloads. You don't need that TV for sure. Get rid of that TV. Get rid of your cell phone. Now that's going to be tough because everybody's addicted to the cell phone. Because it's a wonderful thing. It's
Sure.
an amazing invention. But that's what makes it very suspect.
Exactly. Hyper
And
convenience.
and I have never owned one, so I'm not missing it because
Yes,
I
exactly.
don't know what it is anyway, and I
Yeah.
don't want to know. So that's one, electromagnetics. And I wear this, which according to Dr. Tom Cowan, breaks the electromagnetic fields that I have
Hmm.
to walk through
Yeah.
as an American living today.
My
Okay.
wife has one of those.
So there's that electromagnetic field. Then there's food. Don't eat GMO foods. Don't eat them. And I do when I eat out, to make myself feel special or or whatever my excuse is for eating in a restaurant where they're buying GMO foods to
Yeah,
prepare because they're cheaper and
exactly.
they're trying to make a buck.
Cisco.
I get that. But then I'll eat like a saint for a few days, like mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa, and try to restore myself. I don't take a lot of supplements because I don't trust supplements.
Hmm.
I trust food, but on the other hand, most food, even the organic now, as we know, because the soil is depleted after years of aluminum oxide coming from the geoengineering, uh, I I know the food is inferior, and I feel I'm really seeing that by these bloodlettings that I go through. And then I come out of it and I'm just like, and now I have to rebuild my blood to get it up to where I can still think well and walk and things like that. I see the challenges we have. I see them. And it's just that I'm not a very warm and fuzzy shoulder to cry on to say you wish you lived in another time or another place where you wouldn't have to go through all this. This is your challenge. This is what you signed on for.
Yeah.
I totally know that. You may not. You may think you deserve better, and you want to hide from these things that have to be faced. Well, that's adulthood, friends. That's what being an adult is all about. And we're not prepared in this society to be adults. They want you to be like a child. They
Exactly.
want you to do what they say you should do,
Yes.
and to hide from your responsibilities. I mean, look at it. We didn't send anyone to jail for Kennedy or King or Robert Kennedy. No, we just want, leave me alone, leave me alone, and I'll be a good citizen. Well, that's really not good enough. I'm sorry. So the electromagnetics, the good food, learn to prepare food, learn how to cook. If you don't know how to cook, get rid of your microwave. That's ridiculous. And really, kind of take it on, because you're going to get stronger because of it. I promise you that. You will get stronger, and you will begin to see the difference between good and evil in very clear ways. And these are all pluses. These are
Mhm.
all pluses, but it's hard.
Sure.
It's not easy. And if you're hooked on TV and movies and all that stuff, I watch a detective show now and then on my computer. I love watching British detectives
There's
shows
plenty of
because
them.
there's not a lot of guns in them.
Yes,
They're
exactly.
actually trying to think their way through
Uh-huh.
figuring things out. So, I have little treats that I allow myself, but as far as the daily life, I'm pretty disciplined
Mhm.
about staying with the program here,
Yeah,
because I want to be strong for when evil comes calling on me, and believe me, it does come calling on me.
exactly.
So I have to be strong.
For sure.
And the final one is, if you don't have an inner life, I don't think you're going to make it. You need to have an inner life. And now, what do I mean? Well, it could be a Tibetan Buddhist. It
Mhm.
could be a Christian. It could be have a name. It could also be that, you are committed to doing the good, and not doing evil, and you're sensitive to others' uh, problems, but you're not there to be a do-gooder and bail them out, because everybody needs to face what they need to face. And sometimes it may be a bit much, and so you may reach a hand in there to help people. But it isn't a simple rule. You have to read every situation separately in order to see what your act or non-act will be, what is the best to do in this situation. And that's all part of the adulthood program too. So those three things, if you expand them and you live them, and for me, the inner life is the most important. I mean, every day for me is like a prayer. I mean, it isn't that I get down on my knees and pray or anything like that dramatic. It's more an an ongoing conversation with the divine, because I was raised by a Romanian gypsy, my grandmother, my mother's mother, and she completely said or made clear to me that the spiritual world is right here. It's right with us,
Oh yeah.
and we can interact with it, but not in a way where it's like going to, to a friend's house and interacting. It's a different kind of interaction. And it makes us stronger, and we can then get the right thought forms for dealing with situations that are complex, that we don't know quite what to do. So, that's kind of as far as I go. And in the book, in the remaining human book, I go a lot of places just to clarify, okay, that's what this is, that's what this is, that's what this is. And then here's you. Now you have decisions to make. And so, here they are. and taking them into ways of thinking for the solution that are probably not very familiar to them, and explaining how Chinese medicine, for example, I studied Chinese medicine for 6 years in my
Mhm.
20s. I thought I was going to be a Chinese medical doctor, and then life took me in a different direction. But I use Chinese medicine all the time. I use
Yeah,
yin,
yeah.
and I eat in a certain way where health is simply balance.
Mhm.
Balance of alkaline and acid. It's a balance with how you face the day and the rituals that you have in the day. And these are all very wonderful in order to come up with by yourself. You don't need to follow consensus in these things.
Yeah, I think it's if you're following well, follow, I think is the giving away of autonomy right there. But the consensus usually has no idea what they're doing. They're just
No,
following orders from somebody else.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah. So that inner strength, that inner fortitude, I think is, yeah, I agree. It's very, very important. You've got to know where you stand before you can stand in front of anything else or stand in front of any situation and know how to handle it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
agree.
So I don't think I'm all doom and gloom. Do you?
No, no. I think if we just stop the conversation at the end of all that information, then it would be like, what? So what can we do? Uh, it's good to put it in the context of the fact that we are all human beings, and human beings actually are very, very powerful. We have just been dumbed down for so long and
So long.
taught that we're just good to be productive workers and productive members of society to make somebody else rich and then just go home to our bread and circuses and think that that's all there is to life. But there is so much more to that. There's so
So,
much more to humans than that too.
so
And
much more.
Steiner was good at pointing that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
so no, I don't, you're not gloom and doom by any means. You're just delivering information that's hard to hear because it's one, true. Two, it's not nice. It doesn't make the people that we have been taught to trust look like very solid, ethical human beings, if they are even human beings.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bitter pill, you know. It's one that needs to be swallowed though,
Yeah, and it could have been swallowed a long time ago.
for sure.
Nobody was ready for it. It's like that's the way Americans are. They wait until things get really, really hard.
Mhm. Well,
And then they do things. Yeah, a lot of
exactly.
yeah.
The more comfortable you get, the louder the alarm clock has to be. So
Yeah.
your alarm clock is very loud. It's
I think
great. And your books are fantastic, and this has been incredible. The presentation was great. Where would you like to steer people if they wanted to find out where to get your books or more about you?
well, we might as well just say evil Amazon because it's I have two publishers and my own self and it's not like it's all one publisher, but I would go through Amazon
Okay.
and for the two books done by Inner Traditions, um you can go to any bookstore and get those because Inner Traditions has an international footprint.
Well, we also have a reading list on bookshop.org. So that
Hmm.
directs people to local bookshops to get stuff. So we'll
Right.
put the books up there too. So
Great, great. Yeah.
okay, fantastic. And your website, do you want them to go to?
I have only a Patreon right now.
Okay,
A friend in Germany is building me a website now. But again, the person who just died, who was so important to me, she was going to populate that website with me, and now I have to do it myself. And
gotcha.
so I need to make a lot of decisions. But yeah, I the Patreon works great. I comment every day on all sorts of things that are coming my way because I get lots and lots of emails.
Cool. Well, that's a worthwhile cause too. So, all right, I will definitely put those links in the episode notes, and I will let you know when this comes out, Alana. Thank you so much for doing
Well,
this.
thank you, Chris.
Yes, and we will definitely have you and Cliff back when the book is out.
Okay,
Yeah, I look forward to reading it. All right. Well, have a wonderful evening,
thank you.
and I will be in contact.
Okay.
All right. Farewell.